Welcome back, guys, to my official predictions for WWE Night of Champions 2025. So I was very close to recording this yesterday, and yesterday there were two less matches on the match card. Well, one, because the Dominic Mysterio versus Penta match is officially not on the match card anymore. And now there's two more matches, so ultimately one more total match, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to go through what I predict is going to, who I think is going to predict, who I think will win. Wow, I cannot speak this morning. Who I predict to win and what's going to happen ultimately after this with them. So let's start off with one of the new matches announced. Sami Zayn versus Carryan Cross. Carryan Cross is on a PLE. Can we believe that? Even though it's not the most prestigious PLE in the world, he's still on a PLE. Now, this is one of those where neither one of these guys can afford to lose. Sami Zayn, he's just such a gem on TV. One of the absolute best people on TV, in my opinion. But Carryan Cross has been silently getting himself incredibly over. I just want that Killer Cross to return. The one with the shaved head and the one that just mauled his opponents. I want that guy to return. But for this, there's no build to it or anything really. But I do think Carryan Cross needs a win. Sami Zayn can afford to take a loss. Carryan Cross at this point, he cannot afford to take a loss. So there's not much build to the two new matches. So Carryan Cross absolutely needs to win, and I think Carryan Cross will take the W. By the way, Dominic Mysterio Penta, I would have had Dominic Mysterio win simply because I think Dominic Mysterio will go on to face Finn Balor at SummerSlam or possibly even all the way next year at WrestleMania. That was what I thought, but that match is no longer on the match card from what I've got it updated at this moment. Next match, Street Fight, Rhea Ripley versus Raquel Rodriguez. Hopefully this is not all about who's got the biggest back. Just joking, because that was a storyline that was like last year or something. I think these two women could have put on an absolute bang of a street fight match. Will there be some shenanigans? Absolutely. A street fight, it's going to be no holds barred. So obviously there's going to be some interference, stuff like that. Again, who do you pick? Again, no build to this match really, except the whole Judgment Day situation. But WWE, Rhea Ripley already didn't win Money in the Bank, so can Rhea Ripley lose at two PLEs consecutively? I don't think WWE has that in them to have Rhea Ripley lose at two consecutive PLEs, so I do think Rhea Ripley will take the win here. These two matches, there's no build to them, so there's no real storyline or much for me to digest. Next match, we've got a United States Championship match, Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sakoa, and I believe Solo Sakoa is with JC Mateo. So this, if we really unpack this is a SummerSlam or WrestleMania match that we're getting on, let's be real, a secondary or even a tertiary pay-per-view or PLE, whatever we want to call it. I thought Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sakoa, it would be dragged out and the feud would be built all the way up to, what did I say earlier? Did I say earlier? I'm going to correct myself. I don't know why I said earlier it was going to be Dominic Mysterio versus Penta. I don't know what I was saying. I'm correcting myself in real time here. It was Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles. And now already people typed in the comment section, you don't know. Just relax, buddy. Relax. I corrected myself. Would have been Dominic Mysterio versus AJ Styles, but still Dominic Mysterio would have still taken the W. Back to Jacob Fatu versus Solo Sakoa. This could have been a SummerSlam or a Mania match. I thought they were headed to SummerSlam. I thought they were going to build the story and build and build and build. The reason, I digress again, the reason why I remembered it was AJ Styles, because I still remember there was no real build to the two of them, where this match could have had a lot more build. So that's where my train of thought went to go back to that match. Anyway, back to this match. This match could have been a SummerSlam match or even a WrestleMania match. But it's not. We're getting it at a secondary or maybe even tertiary pay-per-view. I do think Jacob Fatu absolutely will win. And the fact that JC Mateo is in there, how good would a match between like a proper hard-hitting banger, like Sheamus would say, banger, big meaty men slapping man meat, how would that match be between JC Mateo and Jacob Fatu? If we take the old Jacob Fatu and the old Jeff Cobb and we put them in a match, the match they would have would absolutely destroy a building. So I do think Jacob Fatu is going to take the W, and I hope this builds to Jacob Fatu versus JC Mateo at SummerSlam, maybe even all the way at Mania. But ultimately, Jacob Fatu is retaining here. Queen of the Ring tournament final. We've got Asuka versus Jade Cargill. I would love if I lived in a world where, now the new thing since I believe last year was the winner of King and Queen of the Ring goes on to SummerSlam for a championship match, similar to Royal Rumble where they go on to Mania. I'm glad that the King and Queen of the Ring actually has some kind of importance to it, some kind of goal or prize to it, not just the crown. I'm sad that nobody really does that King or Queen gimmick that much anymore, because there's been such classic ones. But ultimately, I would love to live in a world where we have a Asuka versus Io Sky massively built match at a big 4 pay-per-view. I would absolutely love that. The two of them would put on a 5-star match, in my opinion. But again, WWE, they've got the rocket strapped to Jade Cargill's back, and I think where this storyline is going, Jade Cargill is taking the win here. Then Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton at SummerSlam. Jade Cargill beating Tiffany Stratton, and then Naomi with a cash-in beating Jade Cargill. That's where I think this is going. I know that's a booking way ahead in the future, but I think that's where this is going. And I do think that Naomi is doing the absolute best work of her career at the moment. I'm leaving the men's tournament final to the end because that might spoil the other match result. WWE Championship, CM Punk versus John Cena. Should have been at Money in the Bank, but it's not, so we just have to deal with it. If they added Money in the Bank, there's so much history. Oh, so John Cena has not had the best matches, but his matches has never been about being the best matches. His matches have always been about the story, the promos, the story, everything leading up to the match. Then the match have been fairly solid, except for Mania with, please can we not can Travis Scott not appear at this one, please? I just don't need Travis Scott in my life. I just don't need that anymore. John Cena, arguably one of his 2 best matches, one was with Shawn Michaels, his other one, CM Punk. So they don't need to have a classic match. Just the story between the two of them, the history alone is more than enough for me. It's more than enough for anybody. If you have a problem with these two, then I don't know what to say to you. These two absolutely will have a banger, even if it's not an in-ring classic. The storytelling alone would carry it. Unfortunately, I do think, and why I say unfortunately is because I love CM Punk. Unfortunately, I do think John Cena is taking the win by hook or crook. And is John Cena slowly but surely turning face again? I am getting that vibe. He's slowly planting the seeds to turn face. That's what I'm getting, at least. I don't know if you guys agree with that at all. Probably not, but that's what I'm getting. Then the reason why I left this for last is because otherwise it would have spoiled where this is headed. King of the Ring tournament final, Randy Orton versus Cody Rhodes. This one is so simple to book because ultimately WWE is headed straight back to Cody Rhodes unseating John Cena as champion, and Cody Rhodes getting his 2nd championship reign. It's been so obvious since the beginning where this was headed. So unfortunately for Randy, one of my favorites of all time, Cody Rhodes is taking the win here, and he's going on to SummerSlam, and John Cena slowly but surely going to turn back face. Ultimately at SummerSlam, this might be a match. I'm not saying this will be, I'm saying this might be a match more for respect than anything else. They might both be a face, which everybody thought the Mania match was going to be, the two of them, face versus face, respect for respect, old face of the company versus new face of the company, all of that. But I think that's maybe where they're headed for SummerSlam, the slowly turning face again, then just a match for respect, and Cody putting the old guy down and just taking the championship back. So that's my predictions for Night of Champions, and some SummerSlam predictions in there as well. What do you guys think? Who do you think's winning every single match? Let me know in the comment section. Until next time, peace.